And welcome to lunchtime. Today, we're going to have such a good time right here at the lunch table. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you about all of the fun things that we're doing in our kitchen. And so we're going to jump right into it. Last week, we talked a lot about things that home cooks should have in their kitchen. And we try to make sure that we have a well stocked kitchen because we want to make sure that we have the tools that we need, not just at the store and know that they're available, but we want the tools that we need right here in our kitchen so that when we're ready to use them, they're right there and ready to go. Now, as we talk about those tools, I wanted to discuss one of the most favorite tools of the kitchen, and that is the slow cooker. You know, the slow cooker. Oh my gosh, we talked a little bit about it last week. And the fact that we have had slow cookers around now for probably 40 or 50 years, and that some of us have had an opportunity to go from the oldie goldie, which we couldn't take apart and couldn't wash and couldn't do all those fun things to a more modern slow cooker as well. Hello, hello to all of you. Now, so we're going to talk about some of the things that we absolutely need to have. And I am hoping that I'm going to be able to remind you. Well, first of all, I'm going to discuss a few things about that slow cooker because I had a chance to look at mine and to kind of give it a little once over. Think about what do I need to do? Now, my daughter laughs all the time because when she thinks about a slow cooker, she wants, of course, the convenience of a slow cooker. I do too. You do too. And you know what? When we think about that slow cooker, we look at problems first. I think problems just seem to jump out at us all the time of things. Oh my gosh, I need to fix that. And so we're going to be looking at that because when I looked at mine, there was something I needed to do. Let me share that with you. I looked deep down into that slow cooker and it needed a really good scrubbing. But there's some things that we just can't take anything and start scrubbing the inside of that slow cooker. We have to be a little bit gentle because we're dealing with a stoneware insert. And so we have to be careful about what type of scrubber that we use for our slow cookers. And so I try to find one that's fairly gentle, efficient, but gentle, because I want to be able to scrub it and not destroy the quality of the stoneware itself, because we need to keep that. Now, another thing that always comes to mind, besides the fact of cleaning it, is I used to wonder whether or not it was safe. You know, is it really safe to walk away and leave that slow cooker in the house operating and you're off and gone to work? And that's something to think about. And there are a lot of people out there who, even today, after over 40 years, are leery about leaving slow cookers on. And so here's a suggestion. You could do the cooking at night. Now, that's a possibility. Before you go to bed, have it all set up, turn it on, and when you get up in the morning, you're going to have the fragrance and the aroma of whatever it is that you wanted to cook. But here's the dilemma, is that that's going to be one more thing you have to do in the morning, because you're going to have to stop, put your food into a container. You're probably not going to have time to let it really cool because it's going to need to go in the refrigerator. And then at the end of the evening, you're going to have to take it out and rewarm it. So let's use that slow cooker the way it's supposed to. I promise you at this point, they have made every safety um, every safety, I don't know really what the word I'm looking for, but they have done everything to that slow cooker to make sure that it's safe for you. And it is safe because, number one, it is just what it says, a slow cooker. It cooks at a low temperature. It uses very little power and it's very energy efficient. And so, because of that, you don't have to worry about your slow cooker getting too hot. Because most of the time, if you're going to leave that slow cooker going on your counter while you're gone to work, then you're going to make sure that it's on low. And if you're using it and you need it to cook faster and you're going to put it on high, you're more than likely at home and letting it do its cooking throughout the morning or the evening, however you're doing it. It could be an afternoon 4-hour cook or morning 4-hour cook, depending upon when you need it. So those are a couple of things that just to, since we had talked about that slow cooker, I thought, well, let me throw those few things in. But, as I thought about that this weekend, I had the kiddos with me and I had considered preparing a dish in the slow cooker. Now, the thing about it is that I had the meat, I had the veggies, I had everything ready to go, but it was frozen. Everything was frozen. The vegetables were frozen, the meat was frozen. And there's one thing that the manufacturer really does ask you to do, you and I, is to make sure that the items we put into the slow cooker are thawed. And we'll add them in from the refrigerator, thaw them in your refrigerator safely, and then place them into your slow cooker with the veggies first, because the lower portion of the slow cooker is not going to cook as fast as the upper portion of the slow cooker. That's just the way it's designed. So because of that, I couldn't do it because everything I had was frozen. So I had to come up with another plan. So using our slow cookers, while it's very convenient, it's very inefficient as far as energy is concerned. And we just like them. They're pretty, and you can travel with them. And the newer slow cookers have locks on the handle that you can use to travel from one place to another and not have to be concerned as much about spills. I have emptied several slow cookers in my trunk because I was trying to transport it from one place to another. And most of the time, I had the slow cooker sitting inside of a box. So that meant that I didn't have as much cleanup to do. But if you are out and looking for a slow cooker, then certainly you want the one that has the new lock on the sides so that it locks the top down. Now, don't cook with the locks on, because the heat and the moisture need to do a little bit of escaping. And so because of that, we have to make sure that we have given it a little release, and we only use the locks for traveling. So that's just something to put out there. And so for those of you who are subscribers to the newsletter, we're going to be talking a little more about that slow cooker and some other things along the way. Guess what? This week, we're going to jump into February. A new month, a new beginning. I love the beginning of the month because it really does give us an opportunity to make some changes, do something new, and add to and just enhance whatever we did the month before. So we're going to be taking a look at our one plan for 1 month is going to be uh, deploying very soon this week. And I want you to be ready for that because it's going to be coming at you, baby. And so we want to take a look at that together. I'm also going to go into a little more depth as to how I had a question and this week. One of my subscribers asked, do I take my one plan and then break it down into a smaller segment and look at it per week? And the answer is yes. Yes, I do. And I take that one plan, we've got anywhere from 20 to 25, sometimes 30 suggestions of meals. And then I'll break it down week by week. And I really do the week, but I pull it from the one plan. I have the big picture with the one plan, and I'm going to slip right over here and get it. I had it with me and I moved it. Now, here's the planner. I already have the plan set up. The one plan, 1 month is already set up and ready to go. It's ready. But what I do is that I take this and I develop my grocery list. And as you can see at this point, I'm still working on that grocery list because I still got a day or so of January to do, and I'm not quite ready to go to the grocery. But I have the grocery list to be able to look at those items that I need. I can shop my pantry, shop my freezers, and then jot down those things that I'm missing. Now, once I've done this, then I know that anything that is on this one plan, that I have all of those items already in my house. And I should not have to leave my house to prepare these items unless it's something fresh. Like, if it's a big salad, then I may want to go out and actually purchase the lettuces and whatever for the big salad that day or at least that week. But other than that, the major items are already here in the kitchen. Now, what I will do is that, and this is what I have to do at this point, is that I have my weeknight meals. So I'm going to look at my one plan today as soon as we get off, and I'm going to decide, okay, and I'll talk with the big guy, and we'll decide what items we're going to have for dinner this week. I'll ask him, honey, what do you think you might want this week? And I'll show him the plan. Now, here's the plan. Which of these do you want this week? And I give him 3 things that he can choose, and I choose at least 2 or 3. I try to leave one night for leftovers. And because, you're always going to have leftovers no matter what. So we'll have what I call an LO night. And so that's 3 of his choices, 2 of mine, the LO night, that's 6 nights. And on Sundays, we typically have dinner with friends. So I can go ahead and put in, because we had dinner with friends for the 29th. And I'm going to jot that down. And so I'm going to ask him, okay, what are your 3 choices for dinner this week? And then whatever, we'll decide where the LO night's going to fall. Now, a real good LO night is usually for us either Wednesday or Thursday night, but typically Thursday's better, because on Friday and Saturday, depending upon where we are and what we're doing, sometimes Fridays end up as pizza night. Saturday ends up as a burger night, whether I make it or we have it out. So the weekend, we leave a little loosey goosey, but I've got options if I want to plan. So we're going to be able to use our weeknight meal. So yes, to the question, here's the main plan with all of the selections, and here's our weeknight meal. So I know each week what it is that I'm going to serve. And also the good thing is that what this allows me to do is to take out of the freezer the, say, if it's chicken or fish or shrimp or steak, whatever it is, a couple of days in advance, I can pull those items. I usually do at least 2 items at a time. So if I know for Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm going to need chicken and steak, then I'll go ahead and pull those today and put them into the refrigerator so that they can thaw safely. And then I can just pop them right out and use them for whatever it is. And that's good because I know 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have at least one slow cooker meal a week. I'm going to have at least a 1 pot meal that I'll probably do on the stove per week. I very often have some kind of casserole-ish thing that I may do per week. So that's 3 of those items there. And so that allows me to be able to take items out. And sometimes, depending upon what the particular meat is, I may be able to split it because it's only 2 of us for us. I may be able to say if it's a chicken, if I'm doing, I tried this Duke's oven baked chicken. Oh my gosh, it was so good. And it looked pretty once it all came together. So I had enough. Number one, I had enough chicken left that I was able to use part of the chicken in the Duke's oven baked chicken. And then I use a portion of the chicken for something else. So I cooked all of the chicken and then I just used it in different dishes. So that's a good thing to be able to do. So when you're going to have at least 2 nights, say, of chicken, then if you can prepare the chicken the first time and then add it to, say, if you're going to do a chicken casserole of some sort, then you can take whatever leftover chicken there is, chop it up, have it ready for the casserole, and you're ready to go. So that helps us in solving some of our dinner mysteries. And so this week, be looking because the 1 month for one plan, our one plan for 1 month for February is coming. And we're going to be taking a look at the planner as well and just what the plan is for the month of February. That's going to be fun. So how are you all this week? Are you doing anything fun? Tell me, tell me. I like to hear all the good news, good news. And I'm so glad that you're here. And let's see, Emma said she's prepping dinner. Woo! I love that she's getting her dinner ready. And so that is wonderful. And, I like to do that. I usually start about 3 in the afternoon so that if I have any prep to have to do, I do that in advance. So I have it already laid out and all ready to go. So, Emma, I don't blame you. Do as much prep work as you can. Oh, is it Sue said she was interested in what I was going to tell her about the slow cooker. Well, I hope that helps. And like I said, for those of you who are newsletter subscribers, you're going to get even more information about that slow cooker. Now, something happened to a friend of mine this weekend, and she had gone to a friend's house and had found that after she left, she had dinner with him and found that after she left that She had a really bad upset stomach. In fact, I think she thought she was just about ready to go. And it was so hard. And she did not feel well at all. And so, what was later found was that she had a foodborne illness. And of course, her hostess was so devastated that something had happened. And when you think about that, we're always trying to be safe in our kitchens. And foodborne illnesses, unfortunately, are so easy to get. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that because there are some things that we can do to help and to avoid some of those foodborne illnesses. And so we're going to let's talk about that right now. But before we do, let me remind those of you who are new to Lunchtime with Leona. I'm Leona Dooley, and of course, this is Lunchtime, and it's in the kitchen of Ebony Ivy and Thyme. And so this is where we come to be able to love on our families. We are able to chat about our tips and tricks that we do for in the kitchen of home cooks. Both the new home cooks are learning things as well as those of us who are seasoned. And we share information with each other. And that is always a good thing. When you're sharing, then all of us learn new types of tips and tricks and fun things to do right here in the kitchen. And so I hope that if you're not a subscriber, that you will certainly do that. I'm looking forward to having all of you here. Now, let's get back into those foodborne illnesses because those are not the things that we want going on. So you're going to see me looking because I made notes. I wanted to make sure that I was giving you good information and that we are learning quite a bit. Okay. Now, first of all, we have talked about the fact that it is so, so, so important to make sure always that we have clean hands. And I know, so I'm guilty of this. I think, and I'm more aware of the fact that I try to make sure that I let you know, if I'm doing something in the kitchen, that I will say, okay, I need to go wash hands. Now, we have to make sure that our hands and our surfaces are clean. And this weekend really brought all of this to a head because we had everybody here in the kitchen on Saturday. And so I was constantly saying, go wash your hands, go wash your hands, go wash your hands, go wash your hands. And I had my spray bottle of dishwashing liquid that I keep, and I'm reaching for it. So you can see this is water, a little bit of vinegar, and my Dawn dishwashing liquid. And I keep this handy all the time. And I keep it because I want to be able to spray down surfaces very quickly and to keep things clean. And so we want to make sure that we do that. Now, one thing, we're constantly using and I'm getting it out, our cutting boards. We talked about our cutting boards. Wash, wash, wash. Keep those cutting boards absolutely clean. And that's the advantage of using cutting boards that are more silicone rather than wood, because wood can hold bacteria. And so you have to be a little bit careful. I typically try to add silicone cut, underneath of whatever it is that I'm going to do, a silicone cutting board. For instance, when we were doing the biscuits on Saturday, I put one of these down and we worked on this because I knew it was clean. I had put it into I had put it into the dishwasher and had it ran a cycle so that they were absolutely clean. Of course, the kiddos didn't know that and they don't think about that. But I wash my boards by hand and then I put them into the dishwasher. And because, and I'm going to talk about something else. We do a lot of washing of things by hand. And my grands love, they always have, and this is so funny. They love to wash dishes. Now, the youngest likes to wash dishes because she likes to play in the water. But the older grands have learned that they like to wash dishes because that's their way of helping. And which, I love that. I love that. I just think I praise them the whole time. Oh, thank you so much for washing those dishes. And then I wait until they walk away, and then I very nicely gather them all up and I put them into the dishwasher because I'm a little anal about anything that goes into your mouth should be washed in the dishwasher. And that's because of the extreme heat. The water is hotter in the dishwasher. The heated system that helps to dry it is going to kill bacteria and viruses and all those kind of things. So those are the things, anything, glassware, all of that, you might wash it, by hand. And you might think that you're getting it perfectly clean, but I'm telling you, you're going to want to put it into your dishwasher. And just to make sure that you have everything absolutely wiped out. And so I didn't want the grands to think that I did not appreciate their efforts in washing dishes because I certainly did. But I had to make sure that I took all of the spoons and the knives and the forks and the glasses and those kind of things, and that I ran them through a cycle in the dishwasher because I wanted to make sure that they were absolutely clean. Now, wash hands frequently is a big thing. Another thing is not to cross contaminate. Sometimes when we're really working in the kitchen, and especially when you have large dinners or you're cooking that Sunday dinner and you got multiple things going. I do a lot of multitasking. Sometimes I do 2 or 3 days of meals in one day. And so I have to make sure I have separate cutting boards for the meats, the proteins in particular. You don't want to have chicken and steak and fish all on the same cutting board. I keep a bottle of bleach under the sink because I bleach everything. And the cutting boards get the bleach, the surfaces. I use either a vinegar based or some type of bleachy substance that I may use, and I'm not saying I'm going to open the bottle and pour it all over it, but I am going to put a touch of it into my dishwater. And so that means that I need to use some gloves because I can tell you it can be very hard on the hands. And when you're constantly washing, constantly in the hot water. And my husband never touches my dishwater because he knows that it is just short of being scalding hot. That's how anal I am about that. And so I want that dishwater screaming hot. And I want to make sure that I don't want anybody to put any food substances in my dishwater. I noticed that, and the big guy is terrible at this. He'll have a bowl, whatever was in the bowl, he'll pour the liquid out, but then he just throws the rest of it in. He doesn't rinse it off before he puts it into the dishwater. And so all of that stuff starts floating around in my dishwater. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pour it out and make fresh dishwater. because I just don't like that kind of stuff in my dishwater. And so I want my dishwater to stay as clean as possible. And you're probably thinking, that girl's got issues. Well, you know, when you think of how sick you can be with foodborne illnesses, you will start to be, or if you've ever had food poisoning, you will start to be pretty anal about it too. So, all right, so we've washed our hands. We've made sure that we do not cross contaminate any proteins. They need their own separate area if you're going to multitask. And if you've handled chicken or whatever it is, you'll try to make sure that you contain all of that um, in one particular area. And then once you move it and you take it to your sink, that area is sanitized before you start to work on something else. Now, I'm going to stop for just a moment and see what we got going on. Let's see. Michelle is sharing with us. Oh, they have ice this morning. Her youngest son is going to be 14 this week, and there's lots of excitement, I'm sure. We are hoping to have dinner with her mom and stepdad on Friday. Oh, that sounds like fun. Family time is always wonderful. And we want to make sure that we're spending those family moments as much as we can. That's great. And I am so excited to see Joan here with us today. Yay, glad you made it. I'm thankful that you're here. That tells me that things, some things are working out. So I am just glad to have you here today, Joan. Emma said that I don't think I'm by myself here. She says she washes her boards by hand and then puts them in the dishwasher just in case. I'm with you, Emma. I'm with you. That is the best ever. Those of you who are home, you know, you don't have to fix a fantastic meal every day, but you do want to make sure that whatever it is that you're preparing is safe. And so we want to be able to do that in a way that it just adds, it's not so much that it adds more to your plate as far as things that you need to do. It's just that you're making sure that you have developed this habit, and your habit becomes a routine. It's just your routine. This is what you do. And for me, this is a routine because I've gotten beyond, that. I just automatically do that. Um, I'm glad to have, we've got pretty things, home decor lifestyle. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm glad that you're with us today. She said that she agrees with that. You can't get the water hot enough. Oh, absolutely. Some people think people who use dishwashers are lazy. Not really. And I hear you. I don't want to live in a place, in today's world, most of the places where you live have dishwashers. And so take advantage of it. It is not about laziness. It is certainly about being safe, making sure that you are using as hot water as as intense. I don't know this. It sounds like I'm using the same word over and over again, but we want to make sure that our water is hot and that our dishes are as clean as they can possibly be. And when we use a dishwasher, we can make sure that happens, and it's not affecting our hands as much. Um, M is saying that. Let's see what we got. This is Charlene. Hello, Charlene. She wants to know if we could help with some recipes for high blood pressure soon. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. You know, whoo, girl, this is a blood pressure is a journey. And I have been back and forth. I'm going to stop and kind of jump and answer your question here. And I will. I certainly will, Charlene. And what I would love for you to do is to just shoot me an email, and I will start sending you the newsletter that comes out, and I'm going to be adding lots of the recipes that I'm going to be using and some changes that I'm going to be making, because high blood pressure is definitely one of those things that we need to be very much aware of, and that there are some things we can still have delicious food, but we just need to make some adjustments to our recipes. So that's what we're going to take a look at. So, Charlene, absolutely, I will do that. Let's see. All right, Nitty T. She said she's the bleaching queen. High five to you. Me too. My cooking routine is wash hands, wipe the counters, put on a clean apron. All right, girlfriend, I like that. If I have to leave the kitchen, she takes off her apron and she washes her hands when she returns. I'm with you. That's me too. And um, I know some people think that we are kind of over the top, but we're not over the top when it comes to keeping our families safe. Hey, Denise, how are you? It's great to have you here at lunchtime. Glad to see you. And Charlene, I certainly uh, will make sure that I add those recipes and have those for you. Now, we're going to uh, continue. We're talking about those foodborne illnesses because we do need to make sure that we are keeping our kitchen safe. Now, we have washed our hand, make sure hand washing is a big deal. We've made sure that we do not cross contaminate. And here is a major concern. We have to make sure, and this is particularly with proteins, we have to make sure that we're cooking our meats, poultry, fish, that we are cooking them to the proper temperatures. And you remember last week we looked at thermometers and talked about meat thermometers. And we want to make sure that those thermometers are in use. If you are in doubt about the cooking temperature of whatever type of protein that you're preparing, it could be deer meat, whatever it is, go to Google and Google what should the proper temperature be. For instance, um, I think the last time we really looked at a major temperature, we were talking about turkeys, and we wanted our turkey to be around somewhere between 165 and 170. And if we get too much higher than that temperature, then we stand the chance on our turkeys being too dry. Now, the same goes for if we're preparing chicken. And we want to make sure that we test it and to see that it is somewhere also between 165 and 70. And if we're doing chicken breast, then we need to make sure that we're checking that breast, because chicken breasts can be real thin and are real small, and sometimes they can be huge. And so we want to make sure that we check those temperatures and just not assume that it's right. Also, if you cut into a piece of chicken, and very often I do this, especially um, if I'm baking or if I'm frying pieces of chicken, I will cut into the chicken and pull it apart to see, to make sure that it is cooked and well cooked all the way down to the bone. And what I have started doing, even before, particularly when I'm frying, is that I will actually cut a slit into the chicken, like for the chicken leg or for the chicken thigh. And I cut a slit so that it's all the way down to the bone. And that allows that heat and that oil to go all the way through to the bone, because it takes longer to cook the legs and the thighs than it really does the breast. And you've got that bone in there. So you've got to make sure that your chicken is well cooked. So in order to avoid any type of foodborne illness, we've got to make sure that we cook our meats to the proper temperatures, not to the point that they're hard as a brick, because no one wants a dry steak. No one wants a dry pork chop. And certainly we don't want overcooked chicken. But you do want to make sure that that there's no blood, and that whatever if you're cooking it in a casserole and you're starting with, say, chicken or pork or whatever it may be, and you're starting with it raw, you want to make sure that you cook that casserole to its appropriate temperature. And those are things that you really have to look up, because it depends on your quantity very often. And so I try to, I don't want to give you just a set temperature and say, okay, this is the temperature for that, because depending upon the size of what it is that you're going to cook, you may have to open it up a little bit to make sure that it is well cooked. And pork is funny. If you eat pork, you want to be able to cook it, but you don't want to dry it out. And so the best way to be able to, and I'm reaching back here for the thermometer. I had it right here with me. Here we go. This is the best digital thermometer to be able to put it right there into your meat, and to be able to read what the temperature is going to be. So use a thermometer. And these are so reasonable. For about $10, you will have this and it lasts for a very long time. So these little digital thermometers, you can get them everywhere. So certainly you can find them on Amazon. I even think I have one down in my description box that you can just click on the link, and in a day or so, you'll have it at your house. You don't have to leave home. So you'll have your digital thermometer to be able to make sure that what you're preparing has been cooked well. This is a biggie. Number 4, refrigerate your food. Don't leave it out. Sometimes we prepare things, and particularly dinner, if we're going to have leftover, we have things left over. We need to make sure that we get it into the storage containers. And from there, we let it cool off just a little bit before we put it into the refrigerator, because we don't want to change the temperature of the refrigerator. But then we have to make sure that we put that container into the refrigerator or the freezer, wherever we're going to store it. And we want to do that as promptly as possible. You do not want to put it into its storage container, walk away, and you think about it 4 or 5 hours later, and it has been sitting out on the counter warm in that container, because what it's going to do is that bacteria is going to start to form. Bacteria forms very quickly. So you need to make sure that you get your containers once you're finished with your dinner and you're storing your leftovers. And I'm telling you, when you have an LO night and your leftover night, it's always a lot of fun, because you have just enough. So if I want the chicken and noodle soup, then he can have the chili. And so we both, we're happy, because we're getting the leftovers of the things that we love the most. And, or depending upon what it is, you can sometimes take those leftovers and create new dishes. Especially, that's where we were talking about the chicken earlier, where when you bake chicken, you might as well bake it all and then use a portion for that night and have another portion where you can create something new. So that gives you an option. But when you're cooking that protein, make absolutely sure that you have a good thermometer so that you've made sure that your protein is cooked to the right temperature. All right, number one, we washed our hands and made sure our surfaces were clean. Number two, we're not going to cross contaminate as we're working. We're going to make sure that if we're working with chicken in the area, then that's all that we're going to work with. Or if we're working with seafood, then that's all we're going to work with in that area. So don't cross contaminate. We're going to make sure that we're cooking to the proper temperatures. And number five, we're going to make sure that we refrigerate whatever it is that we have promptly. And while we're talking about refrigeration, remember, from the freezer to the refrigerator is what we want to do. So when we're looking at our weeknight meals for the week, and you're taking out your proteins from the freezer, rather than letting them stay out on the counter overnight, put them into the refrigerator even a day or so in advance. So to say, take out 2 items and have them all ready in your refrigerator, waiting to be used. And then that way they stay nice and chilled. And the manufacturers of slow cookers, we were talking about slow cookers earlier. So the manufacturers of slow cookers also recommend that your protein should be removed from the refrigerator and placed directly into the slow cooker. Don't let it come to room temperature and then put it into the slow cooker, because you are asking for trouble. And so let's try to keep things as safe as possible. And all of us early on, we didn't know any better. So we thought we'd have to, we're using the slow cooker. We need to make sure that we put it, that we let it come to room temperature or whatever. No, 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 no. Don't do that. So if you have any abrasions or an infection that may be on your hands, anywhere close, or even, infections like colds, use precautions. At this point, most of us have masks. So if you are the home cook and you have a terrible cold, but you're still trying to work in your kitchen and provide for your family, use a mask. Put a mask on long enough to get dinner done, because that keeps any possibility of your spreading that infection. Oh, it keeps it away from your food and away from your family. If you have cuts and abrasions on your hands, use gloves. Gloves are inexpensive. You can get them at the Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Family Dollar, whatever. I know there's all kinds of little dollar places, but they have rubber gloves. Use rubber gloves and keep your hands safe. If you're having a problem with cracked skin, use some good cream, put your hands into your rubber gloves, and go about doing what you need to do. Now, so rubber gloves are something that you want to make sure that you also have. Now, some of you may not agree with what I'm about to say, but I think it's important to say it nonetheless. Use the best dishwashing liquid you can afford. Let me say that again. Use the best dishwashing liquid you can afford. Now, if you're having money issues, then you might want to you can even go to Dollar Tree. I have found some name brand washing liquids at Dollar Tree. some of the off brands are not as efficient as the better brands. And, sometimes you think you're saving money and you're really not, because I've used some off brands and I end up using more of it because it's not working as efficiently as I like. And so, in the end, you probably end up spending as much money, and you could have bought a good brand, a really good brand of dishwashing liquid for your family. And I'm saying buy the best you can afford. Now, I am a Dawn girl. I use Dawn for cleaning, not just here in the kitchen. I use it everywhere, and because it is a very efficient cleaner. And so I'm also a little partial to palm olive, and I have even used ivory, but Dawn is at the top of the list. And when you go to Consumer Report, Dawn has been holding that number one spot for a very, very, very long time. And so it is the best grease cutter. And you want to make sure that when you're cleaning, you want to work efficiently. So make sure that you're using a good dishwashing liquid, because we want it to clean well, and we don't want it to we don't want to have to use a whole cup of dishwashing liquid to get the job done. um, how many of you have pets? Now, at the time, we don't, but you know what? We love our fur babies, no matter what it is. We love our fur babies. But the reality of it is that fur babies have just that fur. And fur does not stay in one place. Even if you don't allow your fur babies on the counter, the fur will find its way to the counters. And that is another reason why you want to make sure that you are constantly spraying down your counters and keeping them clean by wiping them off. As we think about cleaning up those counters, ladies and gentlemen, don't use a dirty towel to clean your counters, because all you're doing is transferring the dirt from the towel onto the counter. Now, towels are so easy to come by. Oh my gosh, you can go to Walmart, and buy a stack of towels like this for less than $5 or $6. And the advantage of that is that allows you to be able to, each time you need to wipe down that counter, you can clean it off and go and I keep a little bucket right at the bottom of the step, because my laundry room is right up at the top of the steps here off the kitchen. So I keep a bucket there. I put all the dirty towels in there, and then I can take them up, wash them, fold them up, bring them down, and have fresh towels every day. Now, fresh towels is what you want. So whatever I use throughout the day goes, and I start fresh every day. Because if you're using the same dishwashing rag over, and I call it a rag sometimes because that's exactly what it is sometimes. I can remember cutting our towels. I used to cut our bath towels and whatever, as they got old. Then I cut them into portions and use them. And certainly, there's nothing wrong with that. Use your old towels. Don't throw them out. Use them and use them for cleaning. But make sure that you have something clean to wash with. I've gotten spoiled lately. Just I'm going to show you what these are the crocheted washcloths. They are so pretty to have on your counter. And it's just the right size, fits your hand perfectly. It has enough abrasion that you can clean your dishes and surfaces easily. So I actually ordered these from Amazon. Somebody out there is making them and selling them, and they're not that expensive. But the good thing is that I have 7 of these. So I have one for every day. I use it in the dish water for the day, and at the end of the day, it goes into the bucket. And so the nice thing is that I can always have a nice clean one. I try to always get them in white because then, you know, bleach. I can add a little bleach into the water or any OxyClean or whatever it is into the water to keep them nice and white. And they're always clean and always ready to go. So that's an excellent way to be able to use what you have. And if you're one of those girls who washes a load of laundry, at least one load of laundry a day, which I do, I know all of you don't, but I do. I do a load of laundry a day. So laundry in, laundry out every day, all the way through to folding and putting them up every day. And so what that does is that my towels stay clean because at least every other day I end up with a load of towels that I can put through. And I make sure that I have my clean towels for handling the dishes. Ooh, you girls are chatting it up. Let me see what's going on over here. Okay, we were talking about our fur babies and how the fur babies have a tendency to spread their nice sweet fur with all over the place. And so okay, Pretty Things is talking about Dawn. She likes to combine Dawn with vinegar, and if she really needs to scrub something. Now, Kitty T said that she keeps a lint roller near or in the kitchen, and she rolls it over her clothes, even her clothes, in order to remove pet hair before she starts to cook. What a great idea. That's a great idea. And I know you're washing that counter off. So if you're using a lint roller on your clothes, I know you got that down pat. That is a great idea. That's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that. I'll have to suggest that to someone I know. Michelle's saying that she keeps plain white washcloths in a basket so she can use them once and wash them. They go in another basket as soon as they're dirty. Oh, that's good. That's good. And I tell you what, those plain white washcloths you can get everywhere, but I do like them white. And number one, so I can see all the dirt. And number two, because white clothes are just so easy to wash. You don't have to worry about any colors or anything like that. You just throw them in, throw in a little oxy or a little bleach, whichever you prefer, and they're clean and ready to go. And so Charlene says she likes to use disposable wipes that she gets from Dollar Tree. And she says she can use them once and throw them away. That's a great option too. And those, I like those little disposable wipes as well. And I use them a lot sometimes, especially if I have company. And I'll use the disposables because, you have new germs that are coming into the household. And I think after what we've been through over the past few years, that we're trying to get back into bringing our friends and family back into the house. And so when you have an additional person or two in your home, then certainly disposable wipes and into the trash. There you go. That's a great thing to do. Denise says that she changes her dish towels daily and more often depending on what she's doing. She encourages her homemakers to put fresh towels daily, yes, and wash those kitchen linens separately. You are absolutely right, Denise. I agree with that. Denise had a segment while I'm thinking about it that I loved that I was watching on routines and habits, and gave a very clear definition as to what the difference was between the two, and yet and still how they intercepted and intermingled with each other. So if you haven't watched that, take a look at that because it was really very good. um, Charlene is saying that she uses the disposable towels, not the Clorox ones. Yes, I agree with that. And the reason for that is because of the fact, number one, there are some surfaces that we have to be very careful with. I know my granite counters, they do not like Clorox. And so I have to be very particular about where I'm using the Clorox for those. So, yes, we definitely have to be careful about that. Denise says, Denise, I think I did, but if I didn't, I'll put it in as soon as we're finished with this show about the crocheted dishcloths. I love them, and I probably pick up a few every year. Just or as soon as I see. Oh, let me show you one that has been used a lot, a lot, a lot, and it got caught up. The big guy was running some clothes and one got caught. Now, here's the old one. Here's a newer one. And you can tell that the older one had an colored clothes. My towel ended up in colored clothes, and that's what happened. I ended up with my towel not being so white. And I've done everything to that towel to try to get it back as white as I wanted it, but that didn't work. So anyway, I'll put that down in the description box as well. Lee, hello. Okay, she totally agrees. Lee agrees about the white towels and the wash rags. It's easy to see the dirt, easy to launder. She says she has stacks of them because she changes them out every evening after dinner. Bam! I like that. That's a great time. And the nice thing is that if your laundry room's close, then you just have a little place for them. You can put them right there. In my case, I take them up the steps and put them right in the laundry room, ready to go. This has been a wonderful time at lunchtime because we have to be so careful in our kitchens, and we have to be careful with it's the things that we do every day. We get comfortable with it, and sometimes we just forget or we're distracted, and there's a lot going on in the kitchen, so it's easy to get distracted. So we have to make sure that we really do practice safe techniques that become just routine things that we do all the time. And we want to make sure that our kitchens are perfectly clean for our family. And we want to make sure also, because we did talk about this, that we're working our slow cookers and doing it safely. So I'm looking at the clock and oh my goodness, It's time for us to go back to work. Huh, this time always goes by so fast. We have a chance to chit chat and talk about those things that home cooks, both young and seasoned, enjoy talking about. So, come back right here to the lunch table next week because I already have a lot to talk about and tell you. And I know you're going to have a lot to share. And so I'm hoping that you have an absolutely blessed week. Enjoy your time. For those of you who I know are dealing with ice and snow, stay nice and warm. And for the rest of us, we're going to try to make sure that we stay pretty warm and safe too. So have a great week, my friends. And I'll see you soon right here at the lunch table.